Hey, welcome everybody to the Farm to School podcast, where you will hear stories of how youth thrive and farmers prosper when we learn to grow, cook, and eat delicious, nutritious foods. Michelle didn't think I could handle that by memory.
I didn't. He did it without his script. This is the first time. I'm excited because today we have the most boring topic.
No, we don't. It is to us, but we'll make it exciting.
I love it. I'm a self-proclaimed data dork and demophile. So the idea of connecting public process, data-driven public process in the form of a strategic planning is amazing. It's amazing. We're going to talk about that.
Yeah, don't listen to what she just said. That did sound boring. But here's the thing: we were just reminiscing where we were in our state. We've been around for a bit. I came on board in 2012, and Michelle was around a little bit longer. She actually created the legislative bill that created my job. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Michelle, for that. So I'm totally indebted for that. But that was back in the days where farm to school was just starting to become a thing. And so tell us, how did that happen? You said you were at a meeting with a couple of people, with my predecessor, Joan.
Oh, well, what he's asking is about strategic planning. Because really this episode where we wanted to head was at the time of this recording, it is 2025. And we are launching a new 10-year vision for the state of Oregon. And what's that? And oh God, one more roadmap or one more vision.
Evaluation.
Well, yeah, there's different ways we start it, but it's pretty freaking awesome because yes, people have the title farm to school or school garden coordinator. They have a position description, but 15 years ago, that was not the case. And largely, a lot of this work is adjacent to what people already do. Right? That's why we have the farm to school touch points. There are producers, there are processors, there's educators, school boards. There's a lot of people who touch this work, but it isn't necessarily their work. And then you layer on the most complex relationships between public and private people. So what do I mean? You have all these different nonprofits that work on local, regional, state, or national levels. And then you have businesses, commodity commissions, tribes, military.
Commodity commissions, you know what that is out there? Like people that sell a certain product like blueberries or,
potatoes.
Right? Potatoes, yeah.
Yeah, usually it's a quasi-governmental, I got all the big words today. But what it means is there's usually, at least in Oregon, they don't say a tax, it's a fee that is assessed per pound or something. And then that money goes into the commission to be used for whatever the mission of the commission is. So that is usually research and marketing.
Yeah.
That's kind of the main things.
So you have all these people, all these different groups together.
Who all have different missions, mission directives.
Yes.
They have different timelines. They have different budgets. And they all report something different to somebody.
I look at it like this. That's a really good point, because in the position that I worked at with the state government, with Department of Education, I work with teachers, food service directors to get local food into the cafeteria, farmers that way. And then I have a counterpart, Amy, with the Department of Ag, and she works with farmers, ranchers, producers, getting that food into the cafeteria. So we're both farm to school coordinators, but we tackle it from different sides. And so totally different goals. Like I'm more education and school garden focused, whereas somebody else might be more producer focused and Oregon's economy focused, if that makes sense, right?
Well, right. And you have to report key performance indicators to the state legislature every 2 years, right? And that's who is, or the USDA, depending on what program you're running. And that's who decides if you're doing a good job and if you get more money. So
Michelle, so this is great for us, and we're tooting our horn about Oregon, and we've just finished another marathon session for what, 2 years of this, for the 10-year strategic plan process. Why should you care about this? Do you, why should someone in another state care about this? Do they have strategic plans? Do they have things like this going on in other states, Michelle?
Yes, absolutely. A famous one that recently came out is the California Roadmap. And let's put in our show notes the ones we can find. How's that?
How many are? Well, there's only 50 states.
I don't know.
So I can start Googling, I guess.
Nifty.
But
strategic plans.
I mean, we know of some because we've had our brain picked and we've picked other people's brains for
and we read them
stuff.
in preparation. But I guess the main thing is like, why matter? Why would it matter? It's like, how much do you want to work together? You know, we just talked about how agencies have different mission directives, but so do nonprofit organizations. They have goals, mission, vision, core values. So I just mentioned like all the agencies have different mission directives, but nonprofits have different directives.
Yes.
Okay. And so they have a vision, mission, values, and then they're funded to do specific programmatic work. So what is never talked about but layered in is the mission and values of the philanthropic agencies that fund nonprofits that do a bulk of the work.
And let me just say, I had no idea when I landed in my job, the role of nonprofits. Like in our world, farm to school, nonprofits is everything. They do a lot of the heavy lifting, and they're in every corner of the state. They have different organizations. We have a statewide organization, but we also have regional ones that partner with our nationwide, our statewide farm to school network. But it's very unique in our world to work so closely with nonprofits for the work that we do. I mean, and they are able. I'm not able to advocate or anything, and because I'm a state employee, but they can do a call to action. They can do all the outreach. They can talk to legislatures personally and stuff like that. So very, very cool.
Yeah, and the way the legislatures and advocacy groups in Oregon have framed farm to school and school garden as like a whole systems approach has been so inclusive of like all products.
What do you mean?
People product. It's fresh, frozen, dried, canned.
Oh, yep.
It's scale and production neutral. It's it's just a big tent approach to all of agriculture, and as a result, we've had unanimous. Is that the right word?
Unanimous?
I love that word. And nonpartisan legislative support, which, again, at the time this recording is now over $40 million.
Isn't that crazy?
In Oregon, that's big money. You're in California? I don't think so. But there are less people in the entire state of Oregon than in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, just to give you a sense of it.
And Michelle should know that. She's intimately aware of Dallas-Fort Worth area. I'm just
Texas.
leaving it right there.
Leaving it right there. So
shout out to Buc-ee's.
We have $40 million in grants. And then, as Rick mentioned, the grant program is really bolstered by the Oregon Farm to School Network and, Oregon State University and lots of businesses and things.
This 40 million that Michelle speaks of, when that was like my first day on the job, and I had a $200,000 grant to manage. And there was, at the time it was like they asked for 50 million and they got 200,000.
We asked for 22 million.
22, 50, 22.
Okay. This is something that's never been recorded. They actually gave us 7 million, but 11 o'clock at night, I got a legislative phone call, and the coalition at the time had made the determination that it needed to be for all Oregon kids and all Oregon schools, and they would not settle for less than 11 million. And the legislature said, okay, fine. We're not giving you anything.
Well, 200,000.
That legislation, I don't think we got anything.
Oh.
Yeah, it was a hard lesson learned.
I didn't know this.
I've always been too embarrassed to admit it.
Well, but then think about it,
novice democracy mistake.
Just that $200,000, and that's been always my counsel to other states that have picked my brain. I've gotten calls from, I think, all 50 states over the years. I really have, like, you guys got a farm to school grant. How'd you do it? And that was really key to get our foot in the door and show great results from that little, it was 9 schools that applied back then for that 200,000. And then the next legislative session, 1.2 million. And then, 1.2, 2 point, it came up to 10 pretty rapidly. Well, 15 and then got cut down to 10, but I digress. But anyway, we've been pretty stable ever since. And we've shown now people know how cool this is, how good it is for farmers, how good it is for kids, teachers. Nobody loses. Everybody wins. So, it makes it sound like, oh yeah, we're at 40 million overall now. But it's like, that was a big struggle and a lifetime of work in 10 years anyway, if you could figure that. But yeah, here we are. And
part of why we are talking today about like our new 10-year vision is because, enough of us agreed that it is our responsibility and that we all play a role in like ensuring these public funds are well spent and durable.
Mm-hmm.
And that, the private funds to the, greatest extent possible, we cannot direct them, but we can inspire nonprofits and we can inspire other funders of this work. So, Rick mentioned years of planning, but seriously, in 2023, so we are up to 2 years now, the Oregon Farm to School Network, Departments of Ag and Ed, the Oregon Dairy Council, EcoTrust, Food Corps, and our dear friends at Raindrop Workshop, as well as OSU Extension, we joined together like planning partners. We should have had T-shirts. We didn't have T-shirts, planning partners. But we were like, okay, what could we envision for the next 10 years?
Well, not only that, because just to back up a step, we had goals from like 10 years ago, but they're so out of date. I mean, if you look at like when we were just starting out, and I use that analogy, is your ladder, it's leaning up against a goal wall and you get all the way to the top and you realize, oh, I should have been on this other wall, right? It's like, so.
I don't know that.
You haven't heard that analogy?
No, that analogy is like not really landing.
I probably just made it up. So the point is here, forget about goal walls and ladders, but it's good to reevaluate because some of the stuff is like, we didn't even think of this before. We didn't even think about just a whole myriad of things. And so we got together, as you said, but we wanted some fresh blood in, somebody that didn't know anything really about farm to school to lead us. So anyway.
Okay, wait.
Yeah.
Okay, wait. No, I'm actually just reading through our report.
Oh,
Can you tell?
No, that's good. That's a good thing.
I'm on page, I'm heading there. So representatives from each of these organizations got together and we had Jane Waite from Oregon State University kick us off in some of our facilitation processes. And we just started with a vision. And this was it. We agreed on this vision that over the next 10 years, Farm to School will equitably improve child health and well-being, support academic achievement, promote environmental resilience, and invigorate Oregon's agricultural economy. And that's big because, as Rick said, those are different mission areas, but we all have to work together to achieve those. And so, in the rest of this podcast, we really want to talk about the process. And so in this podcast, we wanted to talk about how did we go about doing a strategic vision?
So Michelle, we all got together. I remember all that piece. So you really love talking about strategic plans and all this process, right? Is that right?
Rick and I are smiling. I wish you could see it. In theory, I do. But my experience is, because I'm not someone who necessarily thinks in the moment, especially in the things, I've been in so many strategic planning processes, and I'm thinking this is going to resonate with some people, where whoever has the right words and is able to articulate themselves gets heard the most. And that's what the facilitator writes on the wall. And then you get this report, and the facilitator who isn't involved in the work then leaves. And usually strategic plans are like, check, we did it. Rarely are they ever used. We all want the ideal scenarios to have input, lots of people giving input into it to shape the direction, but we haven't had a mechanism to even do that either.
But I see positives and negatives on this.
Okay, what are they?
Because I remember the reason we got a facilitator in here, that we wanted somebody that really didn't know about farm to school. We had to teach them about that. And that is because, no, we do. This isn't a slight on anybody. It's just somebody that wasn't in that work, our circle of influence, because they already know that stuff. And like, we didn't want Michelle to lead it, because just what you're saying, it's your preconceived things and you would be driving this.
Good point.
But to get somebody that, it took a lot of time to like, oh, no, this is what farm to school is. This is what we mean. And there's a trade-off there. That's not always a positive, free-flowing thing, but we could skip a lot and miss a lot if somebody like you were to lead it, and or somebody else that knows everything about us. It's just like, that's not time well spent, right?
Totally. And so we had a couple different phases of this planning process, and we're detailing them here for you because you can follow them too. But
lucky you.
But really, our community engagement process. So with an amazing facilitator, we really worked on creating a shared understanding of our current state of implementation. So we talked about our challenges, our opportunities, and our gap in statewide procurement and agricultural ed. And then we looked at our previous goals, like up until 2012 to 2023. And we looked at existing data collection and reporting systems. And then we really like mapped out what our different organizational missions are, our roles, actually position descriptions of our statewide partners, and then funding sources of each of us. So that was a totally facilitated process, and which was amazing, because then what we were able to do was to come up with these draft goals. And then we created like potential strategies to achieve them.
And so the next step is when the magic really happened, I thought, because there's a group of us, like 10 of us, that have been talking about this. But then we had all this stuff and we needed to share it out. What do we do then?
Well, we use this digital tool called Consider It, which is amazing. It's an online platform for dialogue to like.
This isn't a commercial for them. They're not a sponsor.
Like
we don't have any sponsors. If you want to sponsor us, contact me. So far, no. But yeah, this isn't an endorsement. I just wanted to say that.
I kind of did it sound like it a little bit.
That's okay. That's all right. It is what it is.
I do a lot of commercials. So.
It is what it is. That's all right. Just continue, please.
But just that. But how often can you see an online transparent dialogue? So we'll have a link and picture to what we're even talking about. But get this, 849 people actually opened the plan and read at least part of it, which is amazing. How often do people actually read draft strategic plans?
But it's more than reading. What did they do then? They were able to...
Well, 155, I'm looking at numbers. I did not memorize this. They actually provided feedback, including 280 plus comments and almost 1,500 opinions.
Yeah.
And that's
huge.
What took us a lot of time.
We
literally went through every opinion and comment, and as a planning team, discussed it.
And that's a good point, because you don't want to throw out the baby with the bathwater or anything here, but like when like everyone really loved this one thing, but one person said that it was dumb, and then it's like,
which no one actually said, but I get
no, but I'm overgeneralizing, but you kind of have to think, well, gee, what about the other 800 people that thought it was like super valuable and everything? And so you had to kind of take it in, but I found myself arguing with myself a lot about, this person he had a really valid point, but the other 800 people had, anyway. So it was a good way to look at the big picture, I think.
Yeah, it was informative, instructive. We all read them with open minds and in teams of people. So it wasn't ever one person just looking at it.
And then what? And then, we have all that. It's this Consider It program. And then I kind of wanted to talk about at some point, by the time this airs in October or whatever, that we could have it'll be ready. And we could say, I wish we had a place to look at the finished product, and it'll be ready. It's not now. today. But
do we want to go through the report, or do we just want to talk about the process? Like how long we've been talking?
Process.
Just the process. And then the next one, let's do the report.
It's been 20 minutes so far.
It's perfect. Let's do 2.
Okay.
Okay.
You know how I love 2-parters.
Tune in next time for the actual things.
Yeah. So we did, everybody commented.
Lots of people commented. And, that didn't just happen. The planning partners I mentioned earlier, we really thought through this like arc of engagement. So, and you remember we like had these spreadsheets and we were trying to coordinate. We're like, okay, how do we reach people, personally with newsletters, listservs, webinars? We did conference sessions. We actually did train the trainer, and individual webinars. We just like really hit the pavement.
I remember like going around the room and saying, well, I have our local school nutrition association, and we have a newsletter that reaches 9,000 people. And then ag, well, I have a newsletter that goes out to farmers, ranchers, producers, and OSU has something, and the network has 1,900 members around the state, and they have legislature outreach. So we just went around and looked at every possible group that we could share it with.
Yeah, along all the farm to school touch points. So this kind of underscores something we didn't say even from the beginning, but it was vital and really energizing throughout this whole process, was seeing strategic planning as a movement building strategy to, reinvigorate, re-engage, engage new folks. Like, when farm to school in a state is new, like just like a school garden, there's a 3-year love bubble. Like people are like, yeah, I'm in. But we're on 20 years. I'm on 20.
Yeah. We've always had the internal discussion, like, have we done everything? No, is the answer to that. But
I did ask that.
But we do, and this is a good process to think through that, the whole scenario. Like, are we done? What do we have left to do? What's our plan? Where do we want to be tomorrow in 10 years? And so now we have all the data in. We have everything. We have our different categories, right? Where we have all the different things, and we can share those with you. We're talking about maybe doing that next time, doing a deeper dive. But for right now, we're done, right?
Yeah, we wanted to just update you all on the strategic planning process, and we will include in our show notes more links to some of the online dialogue tools we used, and also some additional steps that we did. And we just really encourage you to create transparent processes of communication and dialogue, and that's democracy at its best.
Yep. Okay. What else? Anything else you want to talk about, Michelle?
No, we'll tell you about I know you're all dying to hear the results of that. So tune in next time.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for listening today.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. Farm to School was written, directed, and produced by Rick Sherman and Michelle Markiston, with production support from the amazing Leanne Lochner of Oregon State University. And this podcast was made possible in part by a grant from the United States Department of Agriculture.
The content and ideas of Farm to School podcast does not necessarily reflect the opinions of Oregon State University and the United States Department of Agriculture. The USDA and Oregon State University are equal opportunity providers and employers.
Hey, do you want to learn more about Farm to School?
Yes.
Of course you do. Who doesn't? Hey, check out our other episodes, show notes, and you can contact us. We actually have a form that says connect with us. And we look at it.
Hit that button.
Go to Farm to School Podcast, Oregon State University.
Yep. We'd love to hear from you. Stop by the website Michelle just mentioned to say hello, or give us an idea for future podcasts. There's an idea.
That is an idea. Do you want more strategic planning? We could do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll do that.
Bye, friends.
Bye.